A simple cup of coffee turns into a shocking moment of truth when a cocky barista rudely dismisses an elderly man, unaware he's serving the CEO of the entire cafe chain. What started as casual arrogance quickly spirals into a lesson in humility, respect, and redemption. Watch how one man's quiet power exposes hidden bias and leaves a bold message that no one is ever too small to be treated with dignity. The air in Terminal 2 of Amsterdam's Schiphol airport buzzed with the hum of travelers, businessmen in crisp suits, families dragging overstuffed suitcases, and backpackers clutching crumpled boarding passes. Nestled near Gate D17 was SkyBrew, a sleek, modern cafe that prided itself on artisanal coffee and a vibe that screamed sophistication. Exposed brick walls, Edison bulbs dangling from the ceiling, and a chalkboard menu boasting overpriced lattes made it a magnet for the jet-set crowd. Behind the counter, Logan Reyes moved with the confidence of a man who knew he owned the room. At 27, with sharp cheekbones, a fade haircut, and a knack for charming customers, he'd turned barista work into a performance. He flirted with the pretty ones, bantered with the regulars, and kept the line moving. To Logan, this wasn't just a job, it was his stage. It was mid-afternoon, the post-lunch rush in full swing, when an older man approached the counter. He was unremarkable at first glance. Mid-60s, gray hair thinning at the crown, dressed in a faded navy sweater and scuffed loafers. His hands, weathered but steady, rested on the counter as he peered up at the menu with a faint squint. Logan barely registered him, his attention flicking to the next customer, a woman in a tailored blazer tapping impatiently on her phone. She looked like money. The old man didn't. "Excuse me," the man said, his voice soft but clear, carrying a faint British accent. "Could I have a black coffee, please? Medium, if you've got it." Logan's eyes skimmed over him, too slow, too plain, too nobody. "Yeah, one sec," he muttered, already turning to the woman in the blazer. "What can I get started for you, ma'am?" His smile was all teeth, practiced and dazzling. The woman ordered a double-shot oat milk cappuccino, and Logan sprang into action, grinding beans with a flourish. The old man stood there, waiting, his expression unchanged. Patient. Too patient, Logan thought, if he thought of him at all. Minutes passed. The line grew. Logan churned out drinks, macchiatos, flat whites, and iced matcha for a guy in a tracksuit, while the old man lingered at the edge of the counter. Finally, he spoke again. "Sorry, lad. My coffee?" Logan's jaw tightened. "Lad?" He shot the man a glance, irritation flickering behind his hazel eyes. "Look, I'm swamped here. You see the line, right? I'll get to it when I can." His tone was sharp, dismissive, the kind of edge he reserved for people who didn't fit the vibe. The man nodded once, stepped back, and faded into the crowd. Logan didn't watch him go. He didn't care. What Logan didn't see was the man pulling a phone from his pocket as he settled into a corner seat. His fingers moved with quiet precision, typing a message. No urgency, no fuss, just a few words sent into the ether. The recipient? A direct line to the executive office of SkyBrew International, a chain spanning 47 countries, with its flagship roastery in London. The man's name was Henry Whitman, and he wasn't just any customer. He was the CEO. Back at the counter, Logan was oblivious, steaming milk and cracking jokes with a group of American tourists. His shift rolled on, the rhythm unbroken, until his phone buzzed in his apron pocket. He ignored it at first, but it buzzed again, then again. Frowning, he slipped it out during a lull and saw a text from his manager, Elise. Office, now. No explanation, just those two words, cold as ice. Logan smirked, assuming it was about his latest flirtation with a customer, or maybe a complaint about the music he'd cranked up earlier. He handed the counter to his coworker, a lanky kid named Jasper, and sauntered toward the back office, wiping his hands on his apron. The door was ajar when he got there, and Elise sat at her desk, her face pale, her usual warmth replaced by something tense. "Close the door," she said, not looking up from her laptop. He did, leaning against the wall with a casual grin. "What's up, boss? Someone mad I didn't draw a heart in their foam?" Elise didn't smile. She turned her screen toward him, revealing an email with a subject line that made his stomach lurch. Incident report. Schiphol location. Immediate action required. Below it, a single paragraph detailed a customer interaction from less than an hour ago. Male, older, requested a black coffee. Denied service. No name given, but the tone was clipped, formal, and unmistakably corporate. Logan's grin faded. "Wait, what? I didn't deny anyone. I was busy, sure, but—" "Logan," Elise cut in, her voice low. "This came straight from London. Not regional, not even district. The top. They want you on a call in 10 minutes. "A call?" His pulse quickened. "With who?" She hesitated, then said, "They didn't say. Just that it's urgent, and that you're not to leave the premises." He stared at her, the pieces not quite clicking. SkyBrew was a machine. Hundreds of locations, thousands of employees. Why would headquarters care about one missed coffee? Unless, no, that was ridiculous. He shook it off, forcing a laugh. "Fine, whatever. Let's get it over with." Elise handed him a conference line number and a pin, then stood. "I'll be outside. Don't screw this up, Logan." She left him alone in the cramped office, the hum of the espresso machine muffled through the walls. He dialed the number. The phone ringing once, twice before a voice answered. Not the clipped corporate tone he'd expected, but a calm, familiar one. British, soft, too soft. "Hello, Logan," the voice said. "This is Henry. We met earlier. I believe you owe me a coffee." Logan's grip tightened on the phone, his knuckles whitening as the voice on the other end sank in. Henry, the old man in the faded sweater, the one he'd brushed off like a speck of dust on his apron. His mind raced, replaying the moment, the squinting eyes, the polite request, the way he'd dismissed it. A flush of heat crept up his neck, equal parts confusion and dread. Sir, he stammered, his usual swagger evaporating. "I didn't mean to. I mean, it was busy, you know how it gets." "I do," Henry replied, his tone steady, almost gentle. "I've been in this business longer than you've been alive, Logan. I know the rush, the pressure, the choices you make when you think no one's watching." The words landed like a punch. Logan sank into Elise's chair, the vinyl creaking under him. "Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't know who you were. If I'd known—" "That's the point," Henry interrupted, sharper now. "You didn't know, and you didn't care. You sized me up. Old, plain, not worth your time, and moved on. Tell me, Logan, who is worth your time? The woman in the blazer? The loud Americans with their tips?" Logan opened his mouth to argue, but nothing came out. He'd always prided himself on reading people, knowing who mattered, who'd tip big, who'd post a glowing review with his name tagged. It was a game, one he was good at. But now, staring at the scuffed desk, He felt the rules shifting beneath him. Henry didn't wait for an answer. I'm not here to fire you, if that's what you're thinking. Not yet, anyway. But I need you to understand something. SkyBrew isn't just coffee. It's a promise. Every cup, every person, every time. You broke that today. And I want to know why. The line went quiet, the weight of the question hanging there. Logan's pulse thudded in his ears. Why? Because the guy looked like nothing. Because he didn't fit the image. SkyBrew's image. His image. Because that's how it worked, right? You prioritized. You judged. Everyone did it. I don't know, he said finally, voice small. It just happened. Henry let out a soft hum, neither agreement nor disapproval. Meet me at gate D17 in 20 minutes. Bring a medium black coffee. We'll talk. The call ended before Logan could respond. He sat there, staring at the phone, the office suddenly too small, too hot. Gate D17. That was right outside. He could run, ditch the apron, clock out, disappear into the chaos of Schiphol. But something stopped him. Curiosity, maybe, or fear, or the nagging sense that this wasn't over. He stood, legs shaky, and headed back to the counter. Jasper raised an eyebrow as Logan grabbed a cup, pouring the black coffee with hands that wouldn't steady. You okay, man? Jasper asked. Yeah, Logan lied, snapping a lid on the cup. Just delivering this. He wove through the crowd, the coffee warm against his palm, until he reached gate D17. Henry sat near the window, gazing out at a KLM plane taxiing on the tarmac. Up close, he looked less ordinary, his posture straight, his eyes sharp, like a man who'd seen more than he let on. Logan hesitated, then approached. Your coffee, he said, setting it on the table. Henry glanced up, nodding. Sit. Logan did, perching on the edge of the chair like a kid in the principal's office. Henry took the cup, sipped it, and set it down. Not bad, he said. Better than I expected from someone who forgot me. Logan winced. I said I was sorry. You did, but sorry doesn't fix it. Henry leaned forward, elbows on the table. Tell me about yourself, Logan. Why are you here? Why SkyBrew? The question threw him. I needed a job. I'm good with people. It's decent money. That's it? He shrugged. What else is there? Henry studied him, eyes narrowing. You're not wrong. It's a job. But it's also a mirror. What you did today, ignoring me, picking who's worthy, it's not just about me. It's about you. Who you see. Who you don't. Logan shifted, uncomfortable. I don't get it. You're the CEO. You could have said something. Why didn't you? Because I shouldn't have to, Henry said simply. I travel like this sometimes, quiet, no entourage. I want to see what's real, and today I saw you. The words stung, sharp and precise. Logan looked away, out at the planes, the travelers, the blur of lives intersecting. He'd never thought of it like that. His choices as a reflection, a pattern. He just did what he did. Henry sipped his coffee again. I grew up in Bristol, you know, working class. My dad was a docker. My mom cleaned houses. People like you, young, cocky, looked right through them. I built SkyBrew to prove something. That everyone matters. The suits, the backpackers, the old men in sweaters. You're supposed to carry that, Logan, not bury it. Logan's throat tightened. He wanted to argue, to say it wasn't personal, But the truth gnawed at him. It was personal. He'd judged Henry, his clothes, his age, his quietness, and deemed him less. How many others had he done that to? Not just here, but everywhere? "What happens now?" he asked, voice low. Henry leaned back. "That's up to you. I've already spoken to Elise. She'll keep you on, unless you give her a reason not to. But I want you to think about something. This world's full of people like me, people you don't see until it's too late. Next time, it might not be a coffee. It might be a chance. A life. Yours, even." Logan nodded, the weight settling in. Henry stood, brushing crumbs from his sweater. "Enjoy the rest of your shift. And Logan, don't waste this." He walked off, blending into the crowd, leaving the half-finished coffee behind. Logan sat there, staring at it, the steam curling up like a question mark. Back at SkyBrew, the rest of Logan's shift passed in a haze. He worked the counter, poured drinks, smiled at customers, but it felt different, mechanical. Every face seemed to carry a story he hadn't bothered to read before. The woman with the stroller, the guy in the wrinkled shirt, the teenager with earbuds. Were they Henry's too? People he'd dismissed without a second thought? Elise didn't mention the call, but her eyes lingered on him, wary, expectant. When his shift ended, he clocked out and stepped into the cool Dutch evening, the airport lights glowing against the sky. His phone buzzed, a group chat with his coworkers, joking about drinks later. He ignored it, walking instead to a bench overlooking the runways. He thought about Henry's words. A mirror. He thought about his own life. Born in Rotterdam to a Dutch mom and a Filipino dad, always straddling two worlds, never quite fitting. He'd learned early to play the game, to charm the right people, to climb. But at what cost? How many had he stepped over, thinking it didn't matter? Days turned to weeks. Logan kept his job, but he changed. Slowly. He started small, memorizing names, asking questions, listening. The regulars noticed. So did Elise, who softened, even smiled once. One morning, a woman in a hijab ordered a tea, her voice hesitant. Logan caught himself rushing, then stopped. "How's your day going?" he asked, handing her the cup. She blinked, surprised, then smiled. "Better now," she said. It wasn't perfect. Some days the old Logan crept back, snap judgments, impatience. But he caught himself more often, questioned it. And then, one rainy afternoon, a package arrived at SkyBrew, addressed to him. Inside was a handwritten note. "Keep seeing, HW." Attached was a SkyBrew gift card, unlimited balance. Logan laughed, tucking it into his wallet. He didn't know if Henry was watching, if this was a test or a gift, maybe both. He didn't know where it'd lead either, whether he'd stay at SkyBrew, climb the ranks, or walk away entirely. But as he poured a coffee for a scruffy guy in a hoodie, he felt something shift. Not an ending, not a fix, but a start. Out there, beyond the terminal, the world spun on, full of Henrys, full of Logans, full of chances to see or be blind. And somewhere, a plane took off, carrying stories no one could predict.